Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Address Autocomplete for Higher Conversions and Frictionless Checkout. My name is Liz Freyer and I'll be today's moderator. I'm joined today by Edward Dombrowski, the channel manager for our address autocompletion tool, Global Express Entry. Thank you for being here today, Ed. Before we get started, I just wanted to run through just a couple of really quick housekeeping items. We do encourage questions, so please feel free to type those in the chat box at any time. We're going to try to keep today's presentation kind of on the shorter side, so if we don't get to your questions, we'll make sure to reach out to you individually so we get all of those questions answered for you. Also, we are recording today's presentation, so if you miss anything, don't worry. Look for a recording of today's presentation in your email inbox first thing tomorrow morning. I think that's all the housekeeping items that I have, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and turn it over to Ed.
Thanks for attending today's webinar on how to achieve higher conversions and frictionless checkout with address autocompletion. Today we will be showing some examples of how Melissa's Global Express Entry Web Service API enhances the user experience by completing international addresses in about 8 or 9 keystrokes. 3 main benefits of address autocompletion and Global Express Entry on your e-commerce site are increased conversions, decreased form abandonment, and increased visitor retention. Global Express Entry can also benefit your website or call center application by making it easier to enter complete addresses in the fraction of the time time and energy that otherwise entering a full and accurate address would take. So as you can see, we surveyed here at Melissa about 150 e-commerce managers, and we asked them, how important is it to your business to make the checkout process as easy as possible for customers? As you can see, 88% responded that it is very important. We've identified 2 primary pain points for e-commerce, and that is checkout and delivery. According to Easy Post data, 4.7% of the time a customer fills out an e-commerce form, he or she makes an error. For a retailer shipping 100,000 packages a year, that's 4,700 errors made on shipping forms, or 4,700 packages returned. If we take that number and apply it to the industry average of $5 per package cost to reship, we get nearly $23,500 in lost profit per year. And that's before considering the labor and shipping costs involved with rectifying the issue. Even if we were to scale our example down to 10,000 packages per year, the annual loss would be $2,300, much more than the cost of implementing autocomplete. Another interesting statistic for you, the USPS reported that last year, 5.3% of all the mail it returned was UAA, or undeliverable as addressed. Global Express Entry prevents these non-conforming addresses from being accepted during the address entry step on your website, with trusted data backed by Melissa's CAS certified address checking engine and including non-USPS addresses. Same 150 e-commerce managers, when we asked them, to what degree would you estimate your website's checkout process would improve with upfront address verification and autocompletes? 31% said it would significantly improve, and 55% said that it would somewhat improve. Global Express Entry completes international addresses in 8 or 9 keystrokes. It is a RESTful web service API. It requires no maintenance by you or the customer as it is a web service. It has 4 nines uptime. It is safe and secure with HTTPS TLS encryption. It covers 200 plus countries. Addresses are verified, deliverable, and standardized, and it improves your website or call center application. Free services like Google's Places API can only take you so far. Some of the advantages to Melissa's Global Express Entry include no interpolated addresses like the Google Maps feature, which will plot an invalid premise number, support for subunits in countries that support them, and the use of only point data to ensure that all of the addresses returned from the service are verified deliverable. Also, unlike other providers, we return accurate results since we don't echo back the premise number in a result if it does not exist. With Melissa's web service, You get only verified addresses standardized to post office standards for each country. Global Express entry increases conversions or the measure of visitors taking a desired action on your site by auto-completing addresses efficiently. For example, on an e-commerce site, this means that getting the user through the checkout is simpler than when they type their address manually. The checkout process becomes easier with address auto-completion, saving your customer the time and trouble of entering their full shipping and billing addresses. Only 8 or 9 keystrokes are usually needed to complete an address, usually the most tedious step in the checkout process. Address lines, city, state, and postal code are intuitively filled out with a mouse click on the pick list. Reducing the address entry process to a few keystrokes with Express Entry can cut down on user frustration in general, especially on mobile sites where it is most difficult to enter complete address information. In fact, most of the survey results showed that 86% of e-commerce managers believe address autofill would improve the user experience at checkout, and 87% said that improving the user experience would increase conversion rates and revenue. So we asked e-commerce managers again, about 150, to what degree, if at all, do you believe that accurate customer shipping data can improve package delivery rate accuracy? And the answer was overwhelmingly it would significantly improve delivery rate accuracy. Reduced cart and form abandonment is another one of the benefits you will see with Express Entry on your site. People will be less inclined to abandon the checkout process if it is more efficient and streamlined, and Express Entry delivers on both of these by cutting the number of address keystrokes necessary. User frustration is minimized by saving valuable time and energy entering address line 1, city, state, and postal code. Global Express Entry cuts down on keystrokes by about 1/2 in tests using freeform input, making it easier for online customers to self-identify. Also, users will appreciate a less tedious address entry experience, and the less tedium on your e-commerce site, the better. Visitor retention, or repeated visits, is increased by getting people through the checkout efficiently, without errors, and with correct address information. Express Entry helps your site retain more visitors by having potential customers enter standardized contact addresses quickly, easily, and neatly. This will increase return visitors to your site who will appreciate the correct standardization of their address to the official version. And the accuracy given by standardized and verified addresses always makes it easier to manipulate data on the back end with tasks such as deduplication of records. Your website's return on investment will be improved with Global Express Entry on it, as fulfillment will be more efficient since flawless deliveries will become the norm. Global Express Entry's reference data has subpremise information in multiple countries where a higher level of accuracy is available, so the benefits of Global Express Entry will extend to subunits such as apartments, suites, flats for the UK, and units. And lastly, Address Autocomplete helps you keep up with a growing industry. E-commerce is growing at a rate of 8 to 12% per year, and online retailers have stiff competition. A verified, standardized, auto-completing address solution is what puts you ahead of the competition. The price of getting the address wrong can be steep, from lost business and angry buyers to address correction charges on packages, not to mention logistical challenges of correcting destination addresses in systems that may not be designed to handle these issues. Note also that addresses returned by Melissa's Global Express Entry are verified and standardized according to the official post office standards. No interpolated or echoed range numbers are present, as you may see in other countries' auto-completion products. For example, in the US, all addresses are verified deliverable to the delivery point with address object, Melissa's USPS CAS certified address verification tool. Also, internet standard technologies are used to send your parcel address to the web service endpoints, which return complete standardized addresses in JSON or XML with the address lines in the country's official format and including subpremises for supported countries. Express Entry gives visitors to your site a convenient, reliable, and error-free method of entering their address information. Now, please allow me to introduce our product Wiki by browsing to wiki.mostdata.com and clicking on Cloud Services. Then Global Express Entry. You can find important implementation details here, such as the endpoints and their XML schemas. To help the developer who wants to implement the service from scratch, the online reference and the quick start guides are present here. You can use this page if you are an expert who understands REST requests and XML or JSON response formats, or a beginner who wants to try the service without having to code anything by using the Dev Console. Also, for your convenience, sample code is available that demonstrates as simply as possible how to use the 11 endpoints of Global Express Entry. Use the sample code to easily create a proof of concept to convince stakeholders in your organization that address autocompletion is feasible. Also, you can show that addresses commonly in your use cases are present in the Express Entry web service. I'm now going to show how Global Express Entry works. For this example, I will be searching for the address of headquarters at 22382 Avenida Impresa, Rancho Santa Margarita, California, with freeform input. The autocomplete mode which searches the entire country data for the address. When ready to fill out the form, click on the input box and start typing the address. As you can see, a pick list appears with a choice of addresses after the minimum number of characters. There are many addresses that start with 22382 other than the address that we want, so we continue typing until the desired address appears. Click this address and the form is automatically filled out, including the zip +4, and is ready for submittal. The basic idea is to reduce the number of keystrokes, but also to get verified addresses at the point of entry by uniquely identifying the desired address. It stops point of entry errors with its verified and standardized address data. Global Express Entry is installed easily onto any web page. JavaScript jQuery code installs into any standard HTML page with an input form on it. Another popular mode of entry is zip or postal code first, then address line 1. Referred to as fielded input, this approach saves a few keystrokes as you can see here. So I'll do a 92688. And I can choose Rancho Santa Margarita, California. That's the city that I want. Then I'll do a 22382, and that's all that I need in order to get the address that I want. It's the only one on the pick list. Just click there, and then the address is automatically filled out in the form. So basically, just choose the mode of entry which will be most convenient for your user base. So you might be wondering if addresses with suite or subunit information are supported. And for the US, the answer is yes. Say I'm looking up 1320 Porter Street in Dearborn, Michigan. And if I'm looking for the apartment building, I choose the address without the +4. And as you can see, if you set it up in your web page, a pop-up appears, which allows you to choose between any of the apartments that are at that address. Once you click on the apartment, it automatically appears in address line 2. Basically, this is set up with JavaScript jQuery. It's very simple for even a novice programmer to understand. Geocoding is available to enable the latitude and longitude in the response. So for this example, it's available for these countries and is enabled with your user ID, basically your Melissa sales representative, to have it enabled. So if I look up an address in Great Britain, let's say I'm looking up 23 Factory Lane, all I need to do is type in 23 FAC, and I get this address in Dis, Norfolk. And as you can see, the latitude and longitude are output here. You can use it behind the scenes or however you desire, but it is required to be enabled in your profile. Filtering in Express Entry is also available to refine US results. Want to confine results to the tri-state area, a few zip codes, or a radius given a latitude and longitude point? This is possible with filtering. You can even return only residential and business addresses if you want, or sort by distance. It's designed to be flexible and configurable. So this is the filtering page, and I'll do a 22382. It has filtering enabled here. As you can see, it is using the location of our ISP to sort the results by distance. So if I want to choose just 22382 Avenida Impresa, I can continue typing until it's the only address, but the idea is that all of these addresses are sorted by distance from the IP, from the latitude and longitude as determined by the IP. And you can use the global IP web service, which is a Melissa product, to convert the IP into the latitude and longitude for this service. Global Express Entry has data available for over 200 countries and territories with US endpoints that simplify integration for those who need only US data. For the engineer who is concerned about a hacker getting a hold of the encrypted API key, which is used to access the service, the token server effectively conceals the key. Recommended for those using public-facing web pages, the token server prevents the ID from being compromised by a user doing a view source on the web page where the service is used. To use the token server, the developer puts a small piece of code that calls a PHP script on the hosting server to obtain a token which takes place of a Melissa API key. In this way, the actual key is hidden from a possible hacker. The sample code version of the token server code requires PHP, but since the token server supports standard REST requests and XML responses, you're free to implement your own mechanism to get the token and use it on your web page. And for additional security, you can encode the user's browser IP into the token. This is useful because, if necessary, we at Melissa can unpack the IP from the token and see if it matches the logged IP. Basically, if the IP saved in the token matches the browser's IP, then you know the web service is being used properly. It is when the IPs don't match that we know that the token has been intercepted and copied by a person at another IP who is using your token. If this happens, we can take the appropriate measures to prevent them from using your account. It is not necessary to integrate code to use Express Entry in Salesforce or Dynamics CRM. Plugins are available which enable the address autocomplete functionality. Melissa's Listware for Excel product also supports automatic address entry with Express Entry. We have shown how Global Express Entry by Melissa enhances your site or application by making it easier to enter address information into a form. Express Entry is secure, reliable, and efficient. As a web service API, it integrates easily. It comes in with a plugin for Dynamics and Salesforce. And there's a wiki page that explains all of the details. Try Global Express Entry by Melissa by setting up a trial ID with your Melissa sales representative, or check out the Verified by Melissa program where you can get a number of free lookups for your guestbook or site.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Ed. As you can see, Edward's information is on the screen. So unfortunately, we are out of time. We're not going to be able to get to any questions live today, but we will, like I said earlier, we will get to all of your questions personally. So we'll reach out to you via email and answer those questions for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.